Today, we're diving into just one source, but it's a very detailed one. It's a report chronicling a really vital battle. It all happens on Nethamus. That's an agri-world.
And its location is crucial, isn't it? The report puts it in the Konor System.
Exactly, right on the doorstep of Ultramar.
Which, as the source emphasizes, is a critically important sector. It has to be defended, a major target.
Right, and the report flags trouble straight away on Nethamus, worrying signs of chaos. Specifically, these strange dark shrines being built.
Yeah, and the stakes here are incredibly high, according to this report. If these shrines and the rituals connected to them are completed, well, it warns they could open a full-blown warp rift.
Unleashing absolute horrors onto the world. Not good.
Definitely not.
So, the mission is clear and urgent. Captain Aurelius's forces are sent in. Job 1, investigate. Job 2, stop this catastrophe. Prevent the warp incursion.
In our deep dive today, we're going to unpack exactly what happened in that battle, drawing out the key moments from this report.
Okay, so let's set the stage. How does the report introduce the players and the initial situation?
Well, it starts with the forward scouts. Sergeant Harper's unit. They're the first to spot the enemy, and it's bad news right away. Traitor Marines. Possessed. Massing near those shrines.
And overseeing the Imperial response, the report says, is Captain Aurelius. He's coordinating from orbit, from a battle barge, ready with teleport strikes.
Which tells you something about the intended speed of the response. And interestingly, the cultist assassin Lara is mentioned as being with him.
Yeah, that stood out. Bringing in a cultist suggests this is seen as needing, well, specialized solutions, right? High priority.
Absolutely. And speaking of high priority, the report confirms Robert Guilliman himself is present in the system.
Wow. Okay, so a Primarch on scene. That dials the importance up to 11. The stakes are clearly immense.
No kidding. And the Imperials didn't come lightly equipped. The report details some serious hardware. You've got the Storm Raven gunship, the Coming Storm, for transport and fire support.
And deploying from that Storm Raven?
Maximus the Brutalist Dreadnought. A walking tank, basically, built for close-in fighting.
Alongside him, fire support from the Ballistus Dreadnought Night Slayer with Tech Marine Mech.
And don't forget the long-range punch, the Gladiator Lancer tank, Stoic Spear. Its job is clearly taking out enemy armor from afar.
Plus, the report lists the regulars, intercessors, scouts, aggressors for heavy infantry assault, Infernus Marines with flamers.
Assault intercessors for fast melee, and of course, Terminators for that heavy teleport strike capability. A solid force.
But facing them, well, the Chaos lineup described in the report sounds pretty terrifying.
It's a nasty mix. Chaos Space Marines, fast attack bikes, those Warp Talons and Raptors airborne melee threats.
The Twisted Possessed we mentioned, a Hellbrute Walker, even Chaos tanks like a Predator and a Vindicator siege tank.
And the report makes a point of mentioning the exotic Noise Marines, followers of Slanesh with those sonic weapons.
That's a diverse, dangerous force protecting those shrines, and led by some heavy hitters, too.
Veteran Chosen, 2 Chaos Lords, and the report even confirms a Demon Prince on the field.
Okay, so the stage is set. Ultramarines deployed to meet this threat head-on. Which brings us to turn 1 in the report, the initial clash.
Right, turn 1. The report says Chaos moved first aggressively, just surged forward, swarming over the terrain, trying to lock down the ground early.
But the Ultramarines got the first shots off.
They did. Captain Aurelius's forces initiated the firing. The scouts, having made contact, took cover.
And the first really big moment, according to the report, that Gladiator Lancer Stoic Spear.
Yes. It targeted the biggest immediate armor threat, that Chaos Vindicator. The report even notes the crew swore an oath of moment to destroy it.
And did they?
Oh, yes. The last cannon hit. Massive damage. The report cites 14 wounds in one hit. Just obliterated the Vindicator.
Wow. Taking out their main siege tank immediately, that's a huge early win.
Definitely shifted the armor balance early on. Meanwhile, the report details the Ballistus Dreadnought, Night Slayer, taking out a squad of 3 Chaos bikes over on the left flank. Another fast threat removed.
And the scouts managed to do some damage, too.
Yeah, even from cover. Toss grenades, kill one of those Noise Marines. Small victory, but important.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing for the Ultramarines initially.
No, the report mentions the aggressors fired into the Possessed and just couldn't get through their unnatural toughness. No damage dealt there.
So after that first exchange, Chaos lost some key units, the Vindicator especially, but they still managed to push forward.
That's right. The report indicates they advanced successfully, took control of the ground, and basically pinned the Ultramarines back, away from those shrines in the moment.
And the scoring reflects that initial push.
Yep, turn 1 ends, according to the report, with Chaos slightly ahead on victory points. 5 VPs to the Ultramarines 4.
Okay, moving into turn 2. The report highlights something really specific about the Chaos Forces here, Dark Pact.
Ah, yes, this is fascinating. The source explains this mechanic. Basically, Chaos units can strike bargains with their gods for battlefield boons.
What kind of benefits?
Ranged units, if they take the Mark of Nurgle, get better accuracy, more critical hits. Melee units, pledging to Slaanesh, become much deadlier up close. Sustained hits, more attacks.
Sounds powerful, but there's a catch, right? The report mentions a risk.
A huge risk. Failing the pact isn't just bad luck. The report says their souls can literally be ripped out by the gods they bargained with.
Ouch. And does this happen?
Immediately. The report lists multiple failures early in turn 2. A Chaos Biker just vanishes. A Raptor's soul is consumed. One of the Chaos Lords is ripped apart by the pact failing. Even the Demon Prince takes wounds from it.
Wow, so the Chaos guys are actually damaging their own forces here. That's chaotic.
You could say that. Despite these self-inflicted wounds, the Chaos Assault pressed on. The remaining bikes shot at the Gladiator, but failed to do damage.
But the Chosen managed to hurt it.
Yeah, with grenades. Did some significant mortal wound damage to the Stoic Spear.
Okay. What else happened in their shooting phase?
Let's see. The Demon Prince shot at the Ballistus Nightslayer, but couldn't wound it. The Hellbrute, though, did manage to land hits, wounding the Ballistus.
And the scouts got targeted?
Afraid so. The Chosen, a Chaos Lord, and those Noise Marines focused fire and wiped the scout unit out completely. The report mentions the Sonic Blasters were brutally effective.
Any other major shooting?
The Predator tank fired at the Storm Raven, but didn't penetrate its armor. And Raptors shot at Guilliman.
Let me guess. Armor of Fate.
Exactly. Shrugged it off completely.
Okay, so a mixed bag in shooting for Chaos, but they took out the scouts. Then comes their melee phase, which sounds like it was pretty brutal based on those packs.
Extremely brutal. The Possessed charged the aggressors. And the report describes them just tearing the entire unit limb from limb. Utter destruction. They then moved on to the objective.
Nasty. What about the Gladiator? It was damaged.
It got charged by the Demon Prince and the Chosen. Their combined attacks were too much. The report says they destroyed it, and it exploded.
It exploded.
Took out a Chosen and a nearby War Talon in the blast. Friendly fire, chaos style.
Okay, wow. What else in melee?
The Warp Talons, those Slaanesh marked ones, went after the Ballistus Dreadnought. And this is where the packs really showed their power. The report notes something like 36 hits.
36.
Sustained hits from the Slaanesh Pact. They overwhelmed his defenses, did serious damage, left the Nightslayer heavily wounded.
And Guilliman, he was facing Raptors.
He was. They tied him up in the center.
Right.
But the report says Guilliman used a command point, fought first, and just wiped the entire squad out. One swing of the Emperor's sword. Done.
Incredible. But after all that chaos melee, the situation looks bad for the Ultramarines.
Very much so. The report shows Chaos now controlling all the objectives in no man's land, pitting the Ultramarines back in their deployment zone. They needed a big response.
And did they get one? Reinforcements arriving?
Yes. The Storm Raven moved to the center, dropped off its cargo. Infernus Marines, Assault Intercessors, and Maximus, the Brutalis Dreadnought. Big drop.
Guilliman moves forward too.
Strides right into the center. Meanwhile, remember the Calidus assassin, Lara?
Yeah, she was on a special mission.
The report confirms she deep struck into the enemy's backfield. Her mission, sabotage. And she succeeded, destroying one of those critical shrines. The report notes she once again proved her worth.
Vital move. And Captain Aurelius?
He teleported in with Terminators right onto the enemy's home objective, which was now empty. Smart move, securing those points.
Okay, so reinforcements in, key objectives taken or contested. Now for the Ultramarines' shooting comeback.
A strong one. The Storm Raven targeted the Chaos Predator tank and destroyed it in one volley. Gone.
Nice. What else?
The Terminators and the newly arrived Assault Intercessors focused fire on the remaining Noise Marines. Wiped them out.
Good. Those things sounded dangerous.
The Infernus Marines then poured fire into the Chosen. Report says 17 wounds caused. But the Chosen are tough. They made a lot of saves. Only 2 actually died.
Still, chipping away.
Yeah.
And the damaged Ballistus.
Nightslayer wasn't done. It targeted the Hellbrute that wounded it earlier and destroyed it with its last cannon. Revenge kill.
All right. Significant targets going down. Any melee from the Ultramarines?
Maximus the Brutalis charged those Chosen. The report notes he did mortal wounds just on the charge, then killed 2 more with his claws.
Did the Chosen fight back?
They did, managed to wound Maximus slightly, and elsewhere the Infiltrators finished off the last Chaos Biker.
Okay, so turn 2 ends. Chaos still leads on primary objectives, right?
Yes, 23 VPs total for Chaos. But the Ultramarines scored big on secondaries, holding their home objective, the sabotage from Lara, hitting hard. They jumped to 18 VPs.
So the gap closed significantly. Things are much tighter going into turn 3.
Exactly. And turn 3, according to the report, is where things really start to swing the Ultramarines' way. First off, more Chaos Pact failures.
Oh, really? Hoot this time.
One of the Chosen takes mortal wounds from warp backlash. Then separately, the Chosen tried using grenades on Maximus, wounded him slightly. But then 2 more Chosen died when their own plasma weapons overloaded.
Ah. Chaos continues to be its own worst enemy sometimes. Any other shooting?
The Demon Prince, though wounded, managed to shoot and kill one of the infiltrators, but the main action again was in melee.
And those warp talons were still around. The report called them scarily effective.
They were. They charged the Infernus Marines guarding that central objective. The Infernus guys fired Overwatch, bravely taking one down. But the report says the remaining warp talons just sliced through the unit with ease, killed all 5. Just brutal efficiency.
Oof. Okay. And the big one, Gilliman. He was fighting the Chosen and a Chaos Lord.
Yes, a major confrontation. The report details Gilman cutting down 2 Chosen and the Chaos Lord with the Emperor's Sword. Looks like it's over for the Lord, but...
There's always a but with Chaos, isn't there?
Seems so. The Chaos Lord uses an ability called Chance for Glory. Lets him fight as he dies.
Oh, okay.
And, crucially, he succeeds on his Dark Pact right then to get sustained hits.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. That dying Chaos Lord lashes out and hits Guilliman for, the report says, 10 wounds in one go.
10 wounds. Does that kill him?
It brings him down. The Primarch falls.
No.
But wait, the report immediately follows up. The Armor of Fate kicks in.
Ah, the legendary plot armor. I mean, blessed technology.
Blessed technology, indeed. It brings him back. Guilliman gets up, but the report notes he's now severely wounded. A very close call.
Wow. Okay. So despite that shock, Captain Aurelius feels the tide turning overall.
Yes, the report implies that. Key Chaos units are being eliminated. The Ultramarines are starting to surround the remaining pockets of resistance.
So what were the decisive Imperial actions in the rest of turn 3?
With infiltrators lobbed grenades at the wounded Demon Prince, chipping away more health.
And the Ballistus Night Slayer? Still operational?
Very much so. It lined up its last cannon on the Demon Prince and finished it off. Demon Prince down.
Big kill. What about those deadly warp talons?
The Storm Raven focused everything it had on them. Hurricane Bolters killed 1, Plasma Cannons killed 2, Multi-Meltas got another. Wiped the unit out finally.
Excellent. Getting rid of them was key. Aurelius and the Terminators.
Still battling the Possessed. They wounded them again, but according to the report, couldn't quite finish off that incredibly resilient unit this turn.
And you mentioned another moment of heroism.
Yeah, this is great. The lone Intercessor Sergeant, his squad, was gone. He's holding the home objective. The last 2 Warp Talons charge him and the Storm Raven nearby.
1 guy versus 2 Warp Talons.
Yep. And the report says he fought them in melee and killed them both with his Power Fist. Stands alone, holding the objective. Incredible last stand.
That's amazing stuff. So end of turn 3, the scoreboard must look very different.
Completely flipped. Ultramarines score big on primary objectives, more secondaries, they surge ahead. The report puts them at 37 VP.
And Chaos.
Only 28 VP. They lost ground, failed their secondaries. The Ultramarines have decisively pulled ahead.
Okay, turn 4, the final stages according to the report.
Pretty much wrapping up. The last, really dangerous Chaos unit, those super tough Possessed, they charge Guilliman.
Even wounded, they go after the Primarch. Gutsy or foolish.
Maybe both. They actually managed to land more hits, taking off another 4 wounds. The report says Guilliman is left on just 2 wounds remaining, teetering on the edge.
Can he fight back?
He can. Still standing, he swings the Emperor's sword and brings down all 5 Possessed, clears them out.
And is that it?
Almost. The final act reported is the Brutalis Dreadnought Maximus hunting down and eliminating the very last Chaos Space Marine unit mentioned.
Battle over. And the final score.
A convincing win for the Ultramarines, as the report details. They finished with 71 victory points.
Against.
Chaos ended on 43 VP, a solid Ultramarines victory.
So the immediate result, as the report states it, Captain Aurelius' forces saved Nethamus from that warp incursion.
Yes, but the report includes that crucial qualifier, for now.
Right. And after the fighting, they started destroying those dark shrines.
Exactly. Dismantling the focus of the Chaos ritual.
So they achieved their mission objective, pushed back the invasion, saved the planet from turning into a demon world, at least this time.
So let's recap this deep dive. We've unpacked this single, detailed battle report from Nethamus. We saw how an investigation turned into a full-scale, critical battle.
Yeah, against a really potent chaos force that was, interestingly, sometimes hampered by its own reliance on those risky dark pact.
And we saw those key moments jump out from the source. The Stoic Spear's incredible opening shot, the sheer destructive power of the possessed and warped talons.
Gilliman's dramatic fall and recovery, that was edge-of-your-seat stuff reading the report. And that lone intercessor sergeant stand. Amazing.
So after diving into this source, you should now have a really solid grasp of the forces involved, the crucial turning points, and the final outcome of this battle.
But let's leave you with that thought directly from the report itself. It said the planet was saved for now.
And having seen the details in this deep dive, how close some moments were, how much relied on specific actions, packs working or failing, sheer resilience. What do you think that "for now" really implies? What does it tell us about the constant grinding pressure on sectors like Ultramar, right on the edge of the darkness?